April 8th, 1907, page 260. 1 week before I see Mary Mallon in the flesh again, and the thought makes me nervous and my stomach buzz. I fear she will point to me in the courtroom and scream, "You!" as she did in my nightmare. I walk around with this raw, uncomfortable sense of being revealed. I cannot rid myself of the horrible feeling. We had another meeting with the lawyers in which they arranged our placement before the judge. In the courtroom, I will sit between Mr. Soper and Dr. Baker in the first row, with Jonathan and the scientist directly behind us. At this meeting, Jonathan kept reaching forward and tapping me on the shoulder to tell me something, but I gracefully deflected his attempts at conversation. I did not know anyone was watching me do this. When the meeting concluded, Dr. Baker leaned over to ask me to join her in her office. Something about her request, the gravity of her eyes, worried me. I asked if we were to begin our tutoring, but she shook her head and held up her hand to stop any other questions. I followed her upstairs to her office, where she waved me to a chair, and she settled into hers. She leaned on her elbows on the desk, folded her hands, and rested her chin on them, as if she were searching for the right words. "Prudence," she started. "I'm not sure there's any good way to discuss this other than to be blunt and to come right out with it." "Please do," I said. "It's important that our department work together in harmony," she said. "Of course," I said, and I tried to see in her eyes what she was thinking, but she was inscrutable. "It's also important that you as a woman get along with your male colleagues. You might as well start now, because you don't know who will be helpful to you in the future." I did not picture myself as someone who didn't get along with others. I said I was surprised she had said that to me, had seen that in me. "I sense some discord between you and Jonathan," she said. My mind raced back to the morning he trapped me. My tongue felt pasted to the roof of my mouth. I hear him trying to be cordial to you, but you are almost rude to him," she went on. I looked at Dr. Baker's lovely face, and she wondered if she ever had difficulties with men. She's an intelligent young woman, and by the looks of his clever experiments in the laboratory, I can see he will make a powerful scientist one day. Those are the sorts of men who can influence your career," she said. Ma'am, I'm not sure that a boy will ever respect me as a doctor," I stammered. She frowned. "What do you mean?" she asked. Something in her voice made me feel I should trust her and confess what had happened. I took a deep breath and told her about that morning when the boy tried to kiss me and how Mr. Soper saved me. Her lips turned white with anger while I spoke. She closed her eyes for a long moment, then she opened them, looking straight into mine. "It will happen, Prudence," she said. "There's a lot of ignorance among men, so you must teach them how to treat you. By ignoring Jonathan, you're not furthering your relations. You must be better than him, smarter than him." In her cool eyes I saw the steeliness inside of her, that hard place that allowed her to barge into strange houses and wrestle down disease. It was a place of pure resolve. "You must be careful with your emotions," she went on. "You mustn't allow your dislike for one man or your love for another," and she lightly stressed the word love without looking at me, "to interfere with your work or your studies. You must learn to stay neutral." Would you turn that music down a little, please? "Save your passion for yourself, the knowledge you must acquire," she said. Her words revealed me. I felt bared before her. She knew my feelings for Mr. Soper. She released me, and I walked down the stairs, and it occurred to me that she wasn't the only one who could see my feelings so clearly. Mr. Soper had not returned his previous kind self since I had kissed him. He was civil and straightforward, professional, but no longer openly kind. Had he spoken to Dr. Baker about me? Had other people noticed? I worried that everyone in the department saw right into my secret heart. I feared they all knew my mash on Mr. Soper and my dislike for Jonathan. When I reached our office, I said a brief good night to Mr. Soper and left. I did not take the streetcar, but I walked the mile home. I have been thinking about what Dr. Baker said, and she has learned to be careful with her emotions, to see men as influencing her career as stepping stones to the future goal. Has she ever felt raw and revealed? Has she ever loved? I'm afraid perhaps she sees me the way I see Josephine, irrational, excitable, susceptible to the ways of men, and I'm afraid she thinks she made the wrong decision about me when she chose me to help me with medical school. If only I could rid myself of this anguish. I must learn to speak to people in a cool, controlled manner. Oh, how the weight of my own self presses me to earth. I wish I could hold my breath and sink down deep into the East River and feel the water flow over me, taking away the tide of my emotions.